already one, Ulysses. There it is.
At long last, it's the dunk chair. Hello BookTube, I'm Sean the Book Maniac. Welcome back to my channel. Here I am with another Friday Reads, and if the footage turned out, you will have seen part of my walk here through the lovely cherry blossoms and some other trees that have somewhat different colors, which I have no idea what they are. But anyway, and I haven't made a video here on this duck chair since the one I made about Mercedes' book Crisis. And that was several months ago, and I'm surprised that the building under construction is still being built. So there's a bit of construction noise, but I've got the microphone right under my chin here, so I think you should be able to hear me well. But that's really shocking for Japan, because buildings go up here 10 times faster than in Canada. So I can't believe that that is still under construction. I have some announcements to make, some changes to my channel. You're sitting down. This is so dramatic. Not really. The announcement is, I will no longer be doing monthly wrap-up videos. I find them exhausting to prepare. I love watching other people's, don't get me wrong, but I don't like doing them. I find it just really tiring to re-immerse myself in my feelings and thoughts about all the books I read in a month, to give a energetic summary. It's not my style. I prefer to film videos about my reactions to books when they're much more fresh. So no more. There will be a bail wrap up for March, because it's been a bailing massacre of a month. So I'll give you one more. If this thing blows over with my iPad, I think I've maybe made a mistake coming here. It's windy and noisy, and my paper's blowing in my hand, and I'm holding the microphone with the other hand, and my tripod is wobbling every time the wind blows. I'm gonna have to see if I can put this down. I'll just wing it without my notes. Hopefully I'll get everything. I'll peek at it a little later, because I really gotta put a hand on the tripod. How are you liking this video so far? I will be doing a bail wrap-up for March, and then that will be it, people. Everything else will be on Friday Reads. More on that in a minute. But just to say, I'd only ever done, I think, one monthly TBR, and those are ridiculous for me, because I don't like to plan ahead. I used to, but I've abandoned that, so I've abandoned the monthly TBRs. So there won't be any more of those, because there haven't been for a long time anyway. I will continue to do book haul videos. I enjoy them, but I'm not going to tie them to monthly stuff. So yes, everything, my books I've started, books I've finished, and books I've bailed will now all be folded into Friday Reads. That will mean starting next week. This week most of it will be, but then next week everything, starting fresh in April. That will make my Friday Reads longer, and I don't want to make them too long, but I will do my best to keep them to 20 minutes or under, usually. Okay? So today's will be a mixed bag. I'm going to include the one book I've finished this month that I haven't already covered off in a book review or vlog. So that's only one. And one bail, because there's one that I started and bailed this week. So, of course, I'm not only going to be doing Friday reads, people. Don't panic. I'm going to continue to do tags, my own tags, other people's tags, and start to hopefully have more time and energy to experiment with new kinds of content. This will not be a decrease in the amount of content I'm putting on my channel. Not at all. And lastly, just a word about standalone book reviews. I know they're not the most popular kind of video on BookTube, and I don't care. They're one of my favorite videos to make, so it's not that I'm indifferent. I used to be kind of pouting about the fact that nobody would watch my standalone book reviews, but now I don't really care because I enjoy making them and I'm getting better at doing them. So I'm just going to continue that. And as other booktubers have said, either in their own videos or comments on mine or somewhere, you don't get a lot of hits right away on your standalone book reviews, but those are the ones that generate a steady level of hits into the future. So nobody goes back and watches your Friday reads from 3 months ago or your monthly wrap-up from 6 months ago, but I don't think people do that. But if people are interested in a specific book, they will watch your video review. But I don't care. I enjoy doing them, so there'll be more of those. I think I will still be talking about each and every book that I read and or bail on this channel. I know Jennifer at Insert Literary Pun here, in her channel changes, which kind of influenced my thinking. I was already starting to think about giving up the monthly wrap-ups, but her thoughts on why she was changing her channel influenced my thinking a lot. She said she's not going to necessarily comment on every book that she reads in her channel. And that's fair enough. Why should she? But I probably still will, but it'll be on Friday Reads. I realize that there are some people that don't watch Friday Reads, and that I will be losing people that only watch wrap-ups, but what can I do? I just want to make this as fun for myself and stimulating for myself as possible. You win some, you lose some. I just remembered I've got a coffee can here. But I think with all the things I'm holding, the wind has died down, so. Coffee. Where the hell am I going to put it? I love the idea of filming on this little duck chair, but it's kind of impractical. I need more space. And because of where the sun is, I'm tilted at this angle, so it's not really comfortable. If these are the only problems I have in life, life is going pretty well, hey? So, any comments? I'd be interested in any comments you have in my changes, but I'm not going to change my mind, except maybe to further tweak things. I'd be interested. Here is the one book I finished this month. I finished it this week, that I have not mentioned except for the fact that I had started it, and that is this Brazilian novel, Barren Lives, by Graciliano Ramos. This is originally published in 1938. There goes my papers. And this was translated really expertly, really beautiful translation by Ralph Edward Dimmick. I'm not exactly sure what to say about this novel. I enjoyed it. I give it a 4-star rating. I think it's going to stick with me quite well. It's about a really poor family in Brazil, in the northern part of Brazil. And as the novel opens, they are fleeing where they had lived before because of a drought, and they're almost on death's door. And they find an abandoned farm, and life begins to improve for them. You could read it as a cycle because they kind of end up in the same place at the end. And it's a really well done portrait of a family in such abject circumstances. I thought the characters were well drawn, the parents, and it really showed how when life is that hardscrabble, you know, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I mean, you can't really take care of your kids very well, or you can't really communicate, you don't really get to have a emotionally satisfying life when you're so worried about where your next meal's coming from. And also, the father was a deeply shamed man, and I thought it was a really incisive portrait of a man who was so humiliated by his life circumstances and by the people from his past and the people he meets in his present life who are more well off. I thought that was really well done. I think the book's going to stick with me for a long time, but I don't have much more to say about it. It was a really good translation, and there's a dog in it that is anthropomorphized, and he actually has more human qualities than either of the two adults in the novel. That's what several readers of the book have commented upon. Yeah, I enjoyed it. And I have started 3 other books this week. One is for Steve Donoghue's read-along. I have started Can You Forgive Her by Anthony Trollope, 1880s. I'm not sure exactly when. I believe 1880s it was written. I'm just a few chapters in, maybe about 10% of the way in. I'm doing this as an audio-text combo. So every word of the novel I am reading while listening to the audio in my ears, and the audio narration is wonderful. I'm enjoying it. I'm surprised and not necessarily thrilled by how much exposition there is compared to actual scenes, but maybe that will change. But no, it's Anthony Trollope's wonderful, and I'm really looking forward to doing the read-along with Steve. I also started one of the books from the International Man Booker Prize list. It's called The Stolen Bicycle by Wu Ming-yi, a Taiwanese writer. It was one of the few that kind of interested me, and I was able to get one on NetGalley. I'm about 8% of the way in. I'm enjoying it. I would say the translation, or maybe it's a good translation of not the best writing. I usually tend to blame the translator, but it's not awful. It's not the prose that's keeping me going, but the story is really quite compelling. Bicycle theft must be a big problem in Taiwan because it's a plot device at every turn of the story, and so far it hasn't struck me as being gimmicky. I'm really enjoying it. I don't know if that will continue. It's early days. Whether I continue or not, you will hear about it on future Friday Reads. And if I like it well enough, I'll do a full review. I'm enjoying it. And just today I Googled the author. He is, or at least he was, a hottie. So I think I'm going to like it better now that I know that. And he's an environmental activist, and he does a bunch of different kinds of writing. And very interesting. It's my first Taiwanese novel that I've ever read. So I hope it will continue to go well. One that didn't continue to go well was the brand new novel Census by Jessie Ball. I think I can quote my Goodreads review in full. This is a novel about a census taker. This is a novel about a census taker. This is a novel about a... And that's basically my reaction. Now, I was disappointed because I loved Jessie Ball's 2016 novel. I believe it was 2016. That's when I read it. How to Set a Fire and Why. And that was about a badass teenage girl that had all kinds of tragedy and trauma in her life. And she was such a badass. And the narrative voice was stunning. I love that book so much. But the narrator was boring. The protagonist was boring. There was no conflict in the novel other than that he was dying and he had a Down syndrome son, and those could be interesting. But he was just going from point A to point B, and I do mean that literally, meeting people while taking the census, and they were telling them their life story, and it was just mind-numbing. So I bailed after about, I can't remember, 30%. So, too bad, but I will certainly try others by Jessie Ball, because How to Set a Fire and Why was genius. So I heartily recommend that one to you. So I guess I will sometimes incorporate a little bit of a TBR into my Friday Reads, and I think I have done so in the past. So one thing that I'm very much looking forward to that I'll be reporting on next week, because I'll be starting at April 1st, is a buddy read of The Sea by Iris Murdoch, and I'm doing this with Chris of Chris Bookish Cauldron and a frequent commenter and longtime subscriber to my channel and many other booktube channels, Wilson Shugart. He gave me some page 112 excerpts recently, and I think this is going to give him the final little push to make his own channel, because we're going to do a vlog collaboration buddy read. So he will be preparing content, and the three of us will divide the vlog into two parts. It's a big novel, so just two chunks, and really looking forward to that. It'll be my first Iris Murdoch, and maybe another chance to redeem myself in Eric's eyes. I think Eric was a little weirded out by my concern about offending him, that I didn't like sight, but I thought I was coming across as mostly tongue-in-cheek, so with my tongue lodged firmly in my cheek, I hope this is another chance to redeem myself in Eric Carl Anderson's eyes, because it's one of his favorite books. So that is it for Friday Read. I hope you're having a great Friday yourself. I'm off to the bookstore. My moratorium on buying books is at least 50% lifted and will be fully lifted by May. So I'm off to the bookstore this morning, and I think I'm going to do a page 112 tag for some of the Man International Booker nominees, thanks to the excerpts supplied by Peg, the book prize addict. And life is beautiful. How about you? What are you up to, reading-wise or otherwise, this fine Friday? I hope it's beautiful where you are too. Thanks for watching.